Hello everybody! Today I'm going to be making one of my favorite meals, which is chicken fried steak, mashed potatoes, and I'm going to have some fresh asparagus out of my garden to go along with those. So, let's get started. First up, I've got to flatten the steak so it cooks up tender, get it good and thin. So we could go with some innuendo here, but you can pretty well tell what I'm going to do. That's right, I'm beating it. And flip it over and do the same thing. Or you could say like Bob Ross used to do back on his painting show, beat the devil out of it. Something like that. So next up, I've got to season the meat. Get a little black pepper. Just a little. And then flip them over, because you don't want to season just one side. There's the pepper. I happen to like garlic, so I'm going to go with some of that, just a little bit. Don't need too much on there. Just a nice gentle sprinkle. And then that can sit there and rest for a minute. Okay, I got my breading station set up. I've got a half a cup of flour in here, a teaspoon of black pepper, a half a teaspoon of salt, and an eighth a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. I'm just going to whisk all that together. That should be ready. And then I've got, maybe a half a cup of milk in there. So I'm going to get these breaded up. Take this guy here, really work in the flour. Go in the milk wash, and then back in the dry. Really get that worked in good. That should work, and I will just continue until I get these coated. Meanwhile, I have my oil heating in the electric skillet. Over here at the stove, I have my potatoes on the boil for my mashed potatoes. Then I've got my asparagus. I'll go ahead and season that up. For this one, I'm going to season it with this garlic and herb seasoning just on the top, as little as much as desired, and a little light sprinkling of salt. First I'll have to put the potatoes on because they'll take a little bit longer to cook than that. I've got my fry station set up here, and the Holmes HAP-180 is officially in service for the first time. So my oil is hot. I can check the temperature like this. That's ready to fry. So let's get the first pieces in there. Don't want to crowd it. That's smelling pretty good. I have started the potatoes on the boil when I put the first pieces of meat in the oil. And I have also preheated my Ninja Foodie to 175 so I can keep the fried steak nice and hot where it stays crispy. I think these will be ready for a flip. Oh yeah. Beautiful. Let those get done on that side. These are settling down now, so they're about done. Go ahead and take them off. Kind of pat them dry. Then I'm going to put these over in the Ninja Foodie. I've got that set at 175 degrees Fahrenheit. Potatoes are now boiling, so let those chooch for a little while. I have now started the asparagus, so it needs to come to a gentle boil. Then I'll cover it for about 5 to 8 minutes once that happens. And then I'll just continue frying these and I'll come back when they're all done. Well, as you can see, the asparagus has come to a boil, so I'm going to give that a little cover. And turn down the heat just a little bit where that'll kind of steam and do its thing. Potatoes are on the boil. They are getting closer. That one's still a little tough yet. Alright, we're making progress. I've got the last 2 steaks on the fry, and after that it'll be time to tend to the potatoes and asparagus. And then we've got to get the gravy made, of course. So the potatoes are done. Go ahead and drain those out. Turn them to the pan. To that I'm going to add some white pepper. That's plenty. A little bit of salt. Probably about that much butter, maybe 2½ tablespoons. For that amount of potatoes. Then I'm going to add a splash of milk. Here we go. Mashed potatoes. This was one of my great grandmother's potato mashers, by the way. And those look about right to me. I've got those covered on the stove, just keeping them warm. Let's check on the asparagus. asparagus is done. Drain off some of that excess liquid. Take it back to the stove. And melt about half a tablespoon of butter on there. So go ahead and cover that and turn the heat off. So now that the sides are done, the meat should be getting pretty close. Let that go another minute or two, then we can get prepared to make gravy. I have drained the oil out of the electric skillet. Go ahead and power it back on. And I've reserved about 2 tablespoons of the oil used for cooking. It's already hot, so it's not going to take too long. Then put that flour I use for batter because it's got the seasoning and everything in it. May need a little more. We'll see how this looks. Looks like it needs a little more. That should work. Now the flour needs to toast up. Kind of make a roux. Let that toast up. It's already smelling good. It's kind of looking to me like it needs a little more flour. I always start with a little bit less because I can always add more, but I can't take it away. That's looking better. And that's smelling good, so I'm going to add this first part of milk from the chicken fry, the batter station. It's got all that good seasoning in it. We'll start with that, and then I'm going to quickly need to get my other milk out. This is going to really start getting thick quickly as it cooks. I usually cook it on the stove top, so cooking it on an electric cooktop is kind of foreign to me. But it'll get there. Be a little patient with it. See, it's starting to do its thing now. Getting the consistency I like now. And then I'll just sprinkle the top with the black pepper again. And stir that in. I'm going to have a good meal here in just a minute. Heck yeah. Go ahead and grab a couple of steaks here. Get one of those small ones. My asparagus. Some of these mashed potatoes. And that means no leftovers. Give those a little pre-sample. Very good. And now and time to eat. Alright, let's take a little sampling of this. Go for the mashed potatoes with the gravy. That is good. You can definitely taste that cayenne pepper. Get some of the asparagus. That is good. A lot of flavor to that. And then the chicken fried steak. That's pretty tasty. So I'm gonna set the camera down and enjoy my meal. So once again, this has been making chicken fried steak with mashed potatoes and asparagus. Thank you for watching.